All right, so we are now recording. Yeah, sorry, Annie, 对不起, Annie. 他工作朋友就是老师啊，他们不错，我 they could not enter my demo here. It's an informal demo. Let me introduce myself really quickly. So 我叫 Cliff, right? Cliff Tom. 我记名字 Tom. And I am the third. 我是一个 son, right? I am the third. Let me just show you really quickly. So this will only be about 20 minutes. This year will Arjun, that's my son. I am, of course, 我是美国来的. I'm from America. I've been teaching now as a second career for about, almost 13 years, right? Almost 13 years. And Annie, she knows my wife, 我太太富顺来的, right? My wife, and we are currently in Liaozhong, and it is just too far, right? For now. Pardon me. I've got the Shaoke, right? To travel, right? Just for the demo lesson, but hopefully this will be okay. So really quickly, I come from Chicago. That is my home city, Chicago. I went to a very small private school. I was very lucky. And then I graduated University of Kentucky, 2 undergraduate degrees in English literature and integrated strategic communications. I went back to Chicago. I was doing some business with my father. And then I finished my master's degree at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, right? Los Angeles, a very good school. I was lucky to have finished there. I then went on and taught a little bit, finished my doctoral coursework. So I'm an ABD. 因为还有一天就是我是一个不上很大的钱在美国大学, right? You guys know it's a lot of money to finish your graduate work in the States, but hopefully one day I will become my PhD. So greetings, right? 大家好,你们好, greetings from Liaozhong. So I think Annie had wanted me to, let me show my face there. Okay. Annie had wanted me to do a more of a business professional writing demo. So that would be great if I could teach that for next term, right? It's Shigong Dasui. So it is April 18th again. It's the afternoon, and I will just do an informal demonstration of how we Westerners generally approach our instructional classes. So we are trained in a more Socratic method. So we will review wherever we're at within the term. So we would review that information to cement that in the students' heads so they remember that well, especially in a foreign language, in a different language. Sorry. And then we would review today's material, what we're going over briefly, right? Well, not briefly, right? Like today, I will use 2 PPTs to go into more depth of how to best write a professional or business English email. And then I would have them in teams to do this. And then at the end, maybe apply what they have learned. And then maybe if we have time, a little bit of review of what the next class will be. Okay, let me bring up, let's do, the same, right? I had actually already gone through this, but it did not record, but I believe it is recording now. So let me make this just flip, right? We are in a one page here too. So this is one of my partnered online programs that I coach with. I think it's very applicable for business email. So this would just be writing a business email, right? So this would be perfect. So this is an upper intermediate, a B2 level, which I think Annie had said the large majority of students are, right? As we come out of, right? So we're coming out of the virus. I understand, right? Many students around the world, right, didn't we were all learning online, but now, right, we are all together. So it's an interesting dynamic. So our learning outcomes, I would have, 不好意思，有的一个课, I would have the students read, right? And I would, like, no pressure, on, we'll waste the LTNT. I'm always happy, I'm always smiling, but I'm trying to get all of the students involved. I'm not sure what the Ligong 学生 right? I'm not sure what it looks like, but if it's right, the standard rows, right? Try to get all the students involved, right? And smiling and happy to learn, right? To learn something. So have them read this, one or two students. Moving on. This is another interesting question. So again, I might have the class partnered up, either 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people, depending on the number. And then I would say, okay, number 还有一问题, right? This is your first question. How often do you write business emails in English, right? Well, not very often, right? I'm a university student, but I would say, right, maybe write, right, sugar or sure, right? Maybe 10, 20 words, right, of how often do you write business English. Make them start thinking, right, and writing in English. And then moving on, how to be effective with business emails, right? Again, I would just call on a student, right, to read this. Maybe we have some energetic students that can answer some English questions. So what are some purposes? What do you think for writing a business email? And again, I may provide these emails or these PPTs to them via email. I think it's great to have an email listserv of my students, right, to provide them information prior to the class so they can review that if they want, and they can have that information digitally too, right? So generally a professional email would be, Dear Mr. Goodman, I'm writing to you to request, right, something, or for something, right, or for somebody, right? Moving on, so I would, of course, no one writes now. We all text or tap on our phones, but this would be an inquiry email. And this is more of the British, right? A British 英国来的，写字就是 INQUIRY, Americans ENQUIRY, so a little bit different. Or a complaint, right? Do you have a complaint? Or a follow-up email, right? So these three, moving forward, again, a team exercise, maybe, right? 4 people, 3 people, and then right? Just give me 1 page of your answers, right? Moving forward. So we have reading. Again, I would try to, if we have the whiteboard or whiteboard behind me, have them read this. Have one student read this, right? And make sure we'll get right? Always great job, right? And just I'm always a motivating teacher. That is my style. What is the purpose of this email, right? Team, what do you think? What are they trying to accomplish? What is Lionel Vex? What is he or she? I don't know, but Lionel, what do you think they are trying to accomplish? What is the goal? And then how would you describe the tone? Is it serious? Right? What is the tone? Formal, informal? So here we have, right, 3 of these. Again, right, another student. What is the purpose? What is Melanie Grant trying to accomplish in this, right? And I would, but we would have to read this, and I would say, take your time, right? Okay, now you have 3 minutes or 4 minutes to talk together and write your answer. It's a great way, right? Nowadays, everyone has the answer immediately on our phone. We have to work together, right? Right? Our world has to work together to accomplish problems. So it's a good way for classmates to get to know one another better, right? Maybe work out differences. I try to write right? New people every other day, right? To get them energized and to have them become familiar with each other, right? Have them understand each other and know that we all have differences. But I think, right, every day now in the future, we need to work more and more together in the teamwork. So again, the purpose, does this email sound friendly or not? I think these are good questions, right? And then we have another one, the same thing. What is the purpose? Have a student read, right? What is Pamela Atkinson? What is her goal? Moving on to a neutral title, right, is generally Ms. So I think today it's generally Ms., or you could just put the name is okay. Nowadays, right? It's all changing in the West, I think, for sure. So this is just another piece of information. And then answer these questions as well, right? How did the writer make sure the email's purpose was clear? What do you think? Maybe give them, 5-10 minutes, right? Comments, it's kind of right. Please write it. Right? This is more philosophical. And I would say, right, maybe your answer, right? 你问题就是right? 你这次就是那个20 right? 20 words, right? 英文字, right? What else made each email effective? Were they effective? Do you think the buyer, do you think the client would then buy your material or buy your product and service, right? Moving on, right? These are more exercises, some more exercises, which are cool. So formal, right, versus informal. Informal, right? 你朋友, 你家, right? These are your friends, your family, this type of language here versus more formal, right? To your boss, 老板, right? These are more formal ways of writing in English. Explain the difference, maybe have them, right, do this exercise too, right? What is the answer? We have the answer key below. So maybe I wouldn't send this PPT because it's got the answer sheet below, but I would maybe send the next one to the students. 不好意思, sorry. And then how do you make the tone more professional, right? There's levels of severity. So if a client doesn't pay you, right, after you've supplied the service or you've had a good relationship, right, sometimes things get difficult, so you might need to make it more severe, right? You need to be flexible in any language, right, in any environment. So again, another exercise for the classmates or for the teammates to do together. And then we have, right, choose a scenario. So write down what you plan to include in your email. So we have, right, one. I would say maybe just choose one, right? Right? You have a customer complaint email about a product or service. How would you respond, right? So maybe have them, right, 三十四十 right, 30, 40 words, right, of how would you respond, right? Think of a negative or a complaint that is given to you. How would you respond? We also have an email to a colleague asking for an update on a plan or a project. We also have a formal inquiry or inquiry email asking for information about a product or service. That is always good, right, in our international world. And then a follow-up email for a job, right? Many of our students want a job today, right? And then we have compose your email. So use notes again. So this might be the final, right? On faguin, pièce de résistance, the final email or the final task for the teams for today, right? And then I would have them hand this to me after maybe we reviewed, after we reflected, right, what all of this information is about. And then we have another idiom, 英文trois, right? These are always difficult, right? Just how you ego in, right, in any language. So we have to read between the lines, meaning, understand the hidden meaning behind the words. So for example, reading between the lines, I can tell she was upset by this decision, right? Reading, 她知道了, right? She understood everything. She read between the lines. So we do have some more practice. So we would do this as well. Again, I would divide the time to fill the classroom management, time management. I think this one would be cool as well. So this is from Lingua House, another online resource for we English teachers. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So I think this is best served as the second, right? I think this is okay as the second. Let me scroll up here. This is just more of the style of how to stylize an email. So we've got subject lines of the email with the following topics, right? Job application. You always want to make it short and sweet. England, how 还有一个英文话开头的 right? So job application or a payment request. So people know what the subject of the email is about. So again, this is just an activity. Maybe this would be fun. I don't know if this would become 还有一 or 就是两个, right? This would just be more of a fun or an icebreaker before I would have them do the teamwork, and then maybe if there was homework, have them do or create an email. Okay. So moving on, right? The subject lines, what would you call this, right? What should Maria Fernandez call this? What should Joseph Ferrara call this? Et cetera, et cetera. And then we have more language styles. This is a mix of formal, neutral, and informal, right? So what do you think, right? So dear sir, or madam, what would be the neutral? What would you say? Hello? Maybe hello, right? I think is always good for your friends or family. So another interesting activity. I could just point to students. What do you think? Right. And then moving on, study the phrases in the table again. Tick the features that you notice, right? Maybe that's a little bit too confusing, but we move on. So page 4, we have some more informal words versus formal, right? So fix, amendments, book, to book something, right? Inquire, to ask or provide. Some different synonyms between similar words between informal and formal. And then we also have some more questions here. I might ask, right, 2, 3, 4, right? Time permitting, of course, if we have enough time, ask them, and then remind them, right, of their homework here too. Right, their homework would be, right, 2 formal maybe and 2 informal emails. Maybe, right? 无设字, right? 还有那个两个, maybe one formal, one informal, right? I don't know what I would do yet, but something along those lines. And even though AI, artificial intelligence, is making it easier, we lose so much of that intimacy of what still it's not perfect. We have to include much to get much back. So sometimes it's easier to know that knowledge and write in that language. So if you know your client's issues, it's better to just write those 30 words than to try to have AI create something that will still be off and it doesn't have that intimate or that personal connection. So we got more formal and informal, right? And the answer key here. Okay, I think this recorded, so I'm gonna give this to Annie again. It is, let me see my ugly face there. It is April 18th, Thursday. I'm sorry, 对不起 Annie. 你和你大学朋友就是不错。我课 right? It's another right. Zoom, ding ding. There's so many, but right, we still have issues. So let me record or let me save this. And then hopefully, right, this suffices. So let me bring this up and then stop recording. Right, so stop. Settings, right? Stop recording. There you go.